Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Law Basics Guide. Soft reminder again that we'll be getting another DLC here on Tuesday and thus another version. If anything pops up that changed the info in these guides, I'll address that in a separate video, so be on the lookout for such a thing if there are any other major changes. But for this video, we're going to go over some basic level strategies, topics, and tips. As always, keep in mind that we're going surface level because we don't want to overwhelm you if you're trying to pick up the character, so do not consider this the end-all be-all for where you can take the character. With that, let's go. We mentioned in the previous video how important DSS is. Before we discuss cancels and such, let's first run through quickly his DSS move list. DSS 1 is a safe I-12 high. DSS 1 forward 1 and DSS 1-4 are both natural combos. Which you will use largely depends on situation. If you know DSS 1 will hit, then DSS 1-4 will give you more damage. On block, it also gives better plus frames, but it's also a high. DSS 2 is a safe I-14 high. Knockdown on hit and will wall splat. It is also a counter hit launcher, really fat hitbox, and a tendency to eat other highs. DSS 3 is an I-19 high homing tailspin move. More uncommon than his other DSS options in the neutral, so mostly reserved for juggles. DSS 4 is an I-24 low, nearly identical frames and situation as down back 3, but due to its much slower speed, it's not quite as useful. DSS 1+2 is a safe I-19 high power crush. Will knock down for a free grounded hit. DSS 3+4 is the same move as standing 3+4, so I-14 mid launcher, all the frames and everything are the same. DSS forward 1 is an I-17 long range mid. Of course, it's the same hit as DSS 1 forward 1. It will knock down and wall splat. Safe-ish due to pushback, but still -14. DSS forward 2 is the same move as standing forward 2, so you can go into all of the same jab strings from it, which we'll talk about here in a couple minutes. DSS forward 3 is essentially the same thing as forward 3, so high damage potential but very unsafe. The main difference, by the way, is that the power crush on DSS forward 3 activates a couple frames later than forward 3. DSS forward 4 is an I-20 high, again same hit as DSS 1-4. It will knock down and wall splat, great range and plus frames. DSS 1+3 and DSS 2+4 are the DSS throws. They are true 1 and 2 breaks. So some semantics before we get into it. Down 1+2 is DSS. Back 1+2 is Dragon Fake Step, or DFS. DSS is far faster than DFS. DSS moves are extremely powerful and many moves can cancel into DFS or DSS. It comes in two varieties. For punches, press back forward and it goes immediately to DSS. For kicks, pressing back forward will take you into DFS, and then tapping forward again will cancel DFS into DSS. Canceling DFS to DSS is difficult and takes a lot of practice to learn the timing. It is the primary barrier to playing Law to its fullest. Many players like myself do back forward instead of back forward to help with the timing, but you won't find many other shortcuts. DSS cancels typically give you better frame advantage both on block and hit than you would normally get, hence its power. It's too much to go over every scenario and cancelable move here, so we'll just mention a couple. First, while standing forward to DSS is easily the hardest DSS related thing, but also the best in terms of utility. For example, counter hit while standing forward to DSS 3+4 is an actual combo. But if you can get that cancel down, while standing forward to DSS forward 2 is unbeatable even on block. 4-3 DSS is fairly strong as well, and you'll see it a lot in juggles, but we recommend focusing on while standing forward DSS for your neutral game, and 4-3 DSS, and possibly back 3-2-4 DSS for your juggles. but play around with the various cancels and see what you like. Also, don't be afraid to go into DSS Raw in the neutral. It has a fast startup, and moves like DSS 2 and DSS Forward 4 are very good neutral tools. If done fast enough, your opponent should not be able to see the startup of the stance, although you can always do nothing from stance and play mental games with the shimmy animation. Lastly, note that Law's parry, which is back 1+3 or back 2+4, does not yield a free hit unless you do back forward to go into DSS. From here, the best two options are normally DSS 1-4, which is the most damage in the open field, or DSS 2, which will give you a full wall splat. We'll start with the simplest but arguably strongest element of Law's jab game, 1-2-2 and 2-2. Normal 1 and 2 jabs to start as you would expect, but these can go into a safe mid-range punch. Having this from his normal jab strings is a T7 change, but a huge one as it provides range and massive cover for his jab, since it's much harder to duck and punish this or even move around and get out of the way. Law's jabs track to his right anyway, but this mid punch has such good tracking that in order to get around it, at least at range 0, they have to sidewalk to his left, as stepping won't do it. Very few characters have something like this from a jab, so it's really hard to understate how good it is, and certainly no one's ducking jabs on reaction. You can also end the string with a safe high, or a knockdown wall splatting mid that's -13. Both of these are delayable, and those enders are guaranteed if the previous hit connects counter hit. You can essentially spam 1-2-2 and 2-2 all day and likely see no negative effects or slow down in your aggression. It's that powerful. He's got saucy tools beyond that too. 1-2-3 is a safe counter hit knockdown wall splatter, in other words a 10 frame counter hit splatter, and a lot of people complain about that one. 1-2 up forward 3 are jabs into his fake flip for some mind games. 2 back 2 1-2 is a high mid string that you can stop at 2 back 2 to stay back turn if you want. Otherwise it works fairly well as a counter hit string if you want it. Oh, and 1-2, 1-2-2-2, and 2-2-2 can all go into DSS. So there's a lot of fun, safe, aggressive versatility in his jabs, so find the ones you like. Law's back turn isn't as useful or aggressive as, say, Fang's, but it still has some decent utility. He can't go into back turn raw, but here's a list of moves that can get you there. 2 back 2, down back 2, back 4 back, and back 3 back. Back 4 and 2 back 2 are most useful of these due to their range and speed. Back 4 is homing as well. Once in back turn, he doesn't have a lot, but you'll want to use a combination of back turn down 3, which is his plus frame toe kick, back turn down 4, a low launcher, albeit seeable, back turn 2-2, unsafe but confirmable mid knockdown wall splatter, and then back turn up 4 or up 3, which is the back turn hop kick. You can try to sneak in back turn 4-3, but it's NCC, so it'll only do anything really on counter hit and only yields a solid reward at the wall because it wall splats. If it didn't start high, it might be a little bit better. The basic idea though with back turn is that you want to be really annoying with toe kick, which leaves you in full crouch for slide mix-ups, which we'll talk about in the next section. Then every once in a while bust out back turn 2-2 if they start ducking, or you can do the hop kick. You can try back turn down 4, but keep in mind that it's very slow. You'll sometimes see Law players go into full crouch and back turn real quick and then do a hop kick, which can sometimes make people think that the low is going to come out. You can also do weird back turn flip stuff for mind games, such as full crouch up 3+4. But otherwise, just keep in mind that if your back turn move doesn't hit, you're not in a great position frame-wise to force a mix-up. You can certainly try to crush with the toe kick or perhaps the hop kick, but there are a lot of mids that can snag you out of that regardless. The hop kick in particular has some weird hitboxes, so even though it's fast, it will whiff at inopportune times. So again, it's not the most robust back turn game, but it's there to give your opponent a little bit more to think about. Going into full crouch is one of Law's stronger tools. Full crouch, down forward, down forward 3 is Law's fastest knockdown low on normal hit. It does a solid 22 damage and gives you a free get up kick for roughly 30 total. First, practice instant full crouch slide, aka the E slide. If done properly, it's essentially unseeable, so you give yourself another strong tool for neutral doing this. Second, full crouch, down forward gives you a little dash animation that you might have noticed. This is what we use to bait a response and mix them up. If you guess they're going to block standing, then you can either slide, or you can pop up and dash in their face for normal standing mix-ups. If they duck, you can still opt to dash at them, but if you're in range, it's normally good to go for a while standing option. In order of risk, here's what you can do. While standing 4, which of course can go into DSS, this is the safest and will yield the lowest reward. While standing 1-2, remember this is confirmable and can wall splat. And lastly, while standing 2 or the flip kick for launch. Since the slide outranges all these other moves, you can also just fake a slide from afar and use that to freeze your opponent, thus allowing you to get in, which is where Law wants to be. If you want to get really stupid, you can do something like a fake slide into a rainbow drop or similar. Lastly, note that Law has a few ways to get into full crouch other than just ducking. Forward 1+2 down is probably the most common since you get +3 on block, which makes while standing 4 uninterruptible by standard tools. You can also do forward 1+2, so it makes it really versatile. It's also just a tool you'll use often in general, so having that option to go into full crouch is really important. Toe kick and crouch jab follow closely behind forward 1+2, since those are of course far quicker and likely pokes that you're going to be using a lot anyway. Down 1 can also stay crouching, it crushes and gives you plus frames on hit. Similarly, most of his flip moves, such as the fake flip, also leave him crouching, so you can use those as well. Otherwise, the full crouch game isn't really overly complicated. It really boils down to either committing to the slide, picking a while standing move, or using the mental frames to be more aggressive and go for a standing mix-up. Although keep in mind, you can just dash and do nothing and try to bait a response. Law has a sneaky good grab game, although it may not look robust at first. So 1+3 and 2+4 are his normals. 2+4 has really good Oki, since if they stand up in any way, 3+4, 4 is guaranteed. Just keep in mind that there is some risk there, since you're kind of just left hanging if you miss it. 1+3 can give you a wall splat, although the recovery on it is such that you don't get anything guaranteed, but it still gives you a really good position. DSS 1+3 and DSS 2+4 are of course the DSS grabs. True 1 and 2 breaks. DSS 1+3 is the same as his normal 1+3. 2+4 actually has a different animation, and nothing is guaranteed, but it does give you that perfect spacing for a little dash mix-up, say for a running 3. Down forward 1+2, 1-2, 1+2 is a 1+2 break. You can stop at just down forward 1+2, which is a head punch, but the slam does more damage and gives you better Oki. You're essentially in the same spot on the stage, so there's really no benefit to just doing down forward 1+2, but by all means, if that's the one you like, go for it. Forward 3+4 is another 1+2 break, although this time a launcher. Because of that damage output, your opponent has to be watching for this. Forward 2+3 is a 1 break. Very wonky animation because of the little Kickstarter, so it can be hard to see for a lot of players. Can also be done forward 2+3, which is important because it has stubby range, so the dash can get you really close really easily. The dash is also good if you feel like your opponent is breaking forward 3+4 based on the dash animation. And lastly, it gives you pretty good Oki as well. I hope this information has been helpful. Keep in mind that I know that these seem like fairly basic ideas and strategies, but a lot of how good Law can be boils down to how crisp your DSS cancels are, especially from while standing 4, and how well you can place his DSS moves like DSS 2 and DSS forward 4. It's also a lot about how well you use his jabs in the slide game, so even though this stuff might seem simple or easy, it's a lot more difficult once you start trying to put it all together. But he does have some gimmicky stuff like the rainbow drop and whatnot, so there is a lot of depth and some fun, goofy things that you can do with him. But I wish you the best in your training. Be on the lookout for part 3, which will have juggles, punishers, and other resources you can go to for more information. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if this DLC that's coming out introduces changes to Law's move list, I will address those in a different video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's that time to promote, so check out the links to Twitch, Twitter, etc. in the description below. Please consider supporting us on Patreon to keep this content going. Regardless, I appreciate you, and you keep yourselves safe.